So I've been gone for a while because I was caught up doing a real life gig that was basically demanding my attention for the past, I want to say 5 months. It's been great. I had a wonderful time. I made decent money, and now the gig is over and I have some downtime to work on other projects. And as usual, when I have downtime, my brain gets going, and that's when I start uploading on this video diary that I have now. I'm making this video because I want to declare that today I seriously considered, and it wasn't just today, for the past couple of days I've seriously considered deleting my YouTube channel. Let me explain to you why. In this day and age, everybody gets so offended by everything, and everything's so polarized and political that I was worried. You see, for the past 20 years, I've been working on a franchise for a novel series, but it's not just a novel series, it's also going to be live performance, live active, interactive media. That is a franchise. And I've been trying to publish with other publishers. I had one particular company that looked like it was going to be promising, but that fell through. And it finally, the nitty hit the gritty, and I came to the conclusion with the many other people on my side as well, so it's not just myself, I'm working with others, to create my own company. Now, this company is going to be a publisher, but it's not just going to publish books. It's also going to publish different forms of media and promote different forms of media. Theatrical performances, independent plays, stuff like that. Now, I was scared of this YouTube channel when I went to publish it because I was afraid that someone would see my old videos and see my old opinions about how I'm not a feminist, how I'm not a Christian, how I'm not following any of these ideologies, how I'm kind of mouthy about it. And they would try to boycott or do some sort of campaign against my company. Because let's face it, that's what people have been doing lately. Feminists, Christians, conservatives, liberals, all of them seem to think it's okay to look at a company, criticize something they do because they don't have the correct political viewpoint that they think they should have, and then boycott and attack. And I've been afraid of that. But what I realized is even in these different social groups where they think it's okay to try to enforce their beliefs on others, be it conservatives or liberals, one thing is for sure, they are never pleased. I remember when I was a Christian, there were books written about all of the brands that you weren't supposed to use because they had ties to Satanism or Planned Parenthood, or like Procter & Gamble. We were supposed to be boycotting Procter. A real Christian would boycott Procter & Gamble. A real Christian would boycott Disney. A real Christian wouldn't buy Starbucks. You know, all of that type of stuff, that's in the Christian camp, and I grew up with that. There was a book that my mother had purchased called Turmoil in the Toy Box, which basically listed all the toys from the early 80s that you cannot have if you want to call yourself a Christian. And the author of this book also, I believe, had a radio show where he was talking about the evils of rock and roll. Now, the thing is that these people were making money off of criticizing other people's creation. They were writing books and getting money for those books and getting paid to talk on the radio about how Cabbage Patch is evil and from Satan, how Barbie is evil and from Satan, how Care Bears are evil and from Satan. And people bought into the sensationalism of it sensationalism of it, and gave them money. On the other side of the coin, you're getting that with currently you're getting that with liberals, where you have people like Anita Sarkeesian, who literally made her career off of looking at something that somebody else created and pointing out all the reasons why it's morally wrong. And other people are like, wow, Anita, you did that. Here's money. Here's $160,000 for her to sit there and criticize something that she herself couldn't even create. Now, it's one thing to be a professional critic. If you're a critic, you're sitting there saying, here's a movie that I don't necessarily like, or a game that I don't necessarily like because they don't do these things that I personally don't like. Check it out for yourself. That's not the same as saying, if you want to consider yourself a good person, you can't purchase Papa John's because they are white supremacists. Just like if you want to consider yourself a Christian, you can't have a Cabbage Patch doll because they are Satanists. You know, it's the same behavior of these people who are non-creators looking at creators and making money off of telling everybody else why these creations are morally apprehensible. And I was afraid somebody would do that to me. And then I realized I should keep this YouTube channel because I don't necessarily want politics. I don't think that politics should blend in with your creation. If you're a content creator, or like let's say you're an artist or you're a writer, unless from the very first day you declare this is a political cartoon. This is a cartoon where I'm going to state my political views. Or this is da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And if you do that, then people will know, like for example, everybody knows that Rush Limbaugh is this extreme, you know, right-winger dude. So nobody's going to say, oh, did you hear the latest news? Rush Limbaugh was, was against PETA or something like that. It's never going to come out as this big ugly surprise, and it's never going to alienate his audience because his audience is already based on people who agree with him. But if you have a neutral creation, like what I intend to do, where I don't necessarily want politics to come into it and ruin it, people could sit there and say, well, did you see that she used to have this YouTube channel that, where she said all these things? And I don't want that either, So I'm going to have this YouTube channel is my personal diary of what I think, my opinions, so that I don't make the mistake of bleeding that into my work. This is my place to outlet it. And the reason why this is also popping in my head is because there's this content creator that, and I'm going to be perfectly honest, he was like one of my first YouTube crushes. He was one of the first people I ever subscribed to. His name is Lev Yilmaz, I think is his name. I don't know if I'm mispronouncing it. He's Turkish, and I'm not, so I don't know how to say things like that. And he does a cartoon called Tales of Mere Existence. I love his work. To this day, he is my... Between him and Vsauce and iDubbbz, I love these guys. These guys are my favorite YouTubers. I'm a YouTube consumer. I am not a content creator per se. And this is the content that I like to consume. I just love this guy. His comic is great because, is it a comic? It's like a web comic that he does on YouTube. It's like a really interesting fusion of media. I love it. His character is basically an everyman that everybody relates to. And I love it. I love what he does. I just love his character. It reminds me of a grown-up Charlie Brown, It's like amazing. And back when Trump became president, he started making a lot of political cartoons, making a lot of political statements about how horrible it is. And it's so funny because he started getting a backlash for that. And I think where he stood was like, why is everybody giving me a hard time because I'm stating my opinion when everybody else is allowed to? And this is what I would explain to him. When you make an everyman cartoon character that everybody relates to, you're going to get many people who relate to your character. Half of those people might not agree with you politically. So when you all of a sudden come out of the blue making a political statement when you already didn't make political statements up until this point, people are going to feel alienated. And that's just the way it is. And if you don't like that, well, I'm very sorry, but this is the nature of YouTube, you know? It's like if Mickey Mouse were to all of a sudden come out of the woodworks and everybody were to say, did you know that Mickey Mouse is a Wiccan? And that's his religion. It's like, well, no, because Mickey Mouse isn't, and you know, I'm choosing Wicca because to me that's one of the most harmless religions that are out there. But I would be annoyed at that because I'm like, why are you giving him a religion now? He never had one up until this point. You're completely changing the tone here. So anyway, Lev Yilmaz, Lev, his name isn't Lev, it's Lev. Lev is like a Scandinavian name. Lev Yilmaz is an awesome creator, and yeah, he was confused and he didn't understand why people didn't dig his switch of political tone. But eventually he kind of dropped it and moved on because he seems like a pretty even-toned dude who really doesn't get too hung up on politics. He was just making statements that he wanted to make, which is fine. It's just don't expect everybody to say, oh, wonderful, you know, if they don't agree with it. But especially since, you know, everybody's been relating to your character and now you just made that character not relatable to a certain percentage of your demographic. I don't want to do that. So that's why I'm keeping this YouTube video. Because I thought it's not fair that Lev doesn't get to state his opinion. He should be allowed to state his opinion. But I think the problem is that he was trying to integrate it with Tales of Mere Existence, which isn't wrong because he's the creator of it and it's his art. But on the other hand, people aren't just going to eat that up with a spoon. They're just not. They're just not, you know? Or you might even get somebody like me who is really stressed out about the political stance, the political state of how everything's been so incredibly polarized, and really just wants a break from it. And so I'm watching your cartoon, and to see that in your cartoon, it's like you're taking my happy time away. Selfish? Absolutely. But what do you expect from a consumer? You know? This is Marketing 101. I don't know anything about marketing, but I got a good instinct for it. And I know that if you're going to make ham and eggs, and you're going to get famous for making ham and eggs, when you one day come out with a plate of sushi, don't get surprised if your regulars turn around and go, well, that's not what I want, and don't come back, you know? But anyway, he has the right to vent his political opinions. And so he should have a vlog like this. He should have a little vlog where he doesn't even fucking edit the thing and just says whatever he wants to say because he wants to say it. And if you don't like his comic because he happens to have these opinions, you have that prerogative, but the comic is apart from the opinion. So it's not like he's trying to browbeat you. And that's why I want to keep this YouTube channel open. I don't want politics to bleed into my franchise. I don't want it to become this thing. Like C.S. Lewis, when he wrote Chronicles of Narnia, he basically was like trying to spread the gospel through this new media of fantasy parable. Which is fine, but if you don't necessarily want to adhere to the rules of Christianity, can you enjoy it despite? And there are a lot of people who can, you know? There are a lot of people who go, yeah, I know he was trying to do some sort of Christian message, but I don't care. It's still a good movie. It's still a good book franchise and whatever. I don't want to do that, though. I don't want to try to sway people to my thinking with my storytelling. I don't want to change people's minds. I'm not in the business of doing that. I just want to tell a good story of something that was really cool. You know? That's it. And I want people to be entertained by it. I want liberals to be able to pick up my book and not feel alienated because I don't necessarily agree with them. I want conservatives to be able to pick up my book and not feel alienated because I don't necessarily agree with them. I want all kinds of people to be able to look at the book and see it as a neutral thing that everybody can enjoy. And so I'm keeping this YouTube channel as my toilet. It's where I go to shit out my opinions so it doesn't bleed into my actual artwork. I think that's going to be... I think my YouTube channel has been that way up until this point, but this is my official recognition of it. Also, I want to see if I can lose weight. and keeping a video diary is kind of a good way of doing it, because I can look at like a couple of weeks ago and be like, damn, I lost some weight. Hey, hey. Like, I look at my older videos where I was like 107 pounds. My heart. I wish I was that again. And I'm like, holy shit, girl. You need to get back to that. Damn, I look at my videos when I was like 120 pounds, and I'm like, it was a little heavier, but at least I still looked good. I don't like the way I look now. Well, I guess you know what I look now? I look like a cute little chubby girl. I'm okay with that. I don't really care. This YouTube channel is for me. If other people want to see my opinions and know more about me as a person, this is my social media to do it. If they don't care about my political opinions on stuff and they really want me to shut my fucking mouth, then they can just completely ignore this channel. As a matter of fact, just block it and pretend it doesn't exist. Also, you probably don't want to follow me on Twitter. I'm going to make a new Twitter account for myself as an author where I don't get political. And I'm going to keep that away from my other Twitter accounts. I have two other Twitter accounts. I have one for witchcraft, and then I have one for just whatever the fuck vomit opinions want to come out of my head. Okay. I feel better now. This is good. This is good. It's established that I'm keeping my YouTube channel as my mental toilet.